Hello, it is the Go Birds podcast presented by the Bet Parks Casino and Sportsbook app. You love to play, you play to win. You bet, Bet Parks. I am here, James Seltzer with Eliot, Joe Namath, Shorr-Parks. Eliot, I'll start this way, and a lot to get into, and obviously, you got to get to the locker room, and we'll dive through it in the week. It wasn't perfect, obviously, but I said to Emily before I came down, and then I said to Tucker before you got on this stream here as we were chatting, I was like, man, win or loss, I don't remember the last time I could just come to a post-game pod and feel good. It wasn't perfect, but you know what? They won 28-3 on the road and they handled business. I'm really happy today, man. It's nice to feel happy as an Eagles fan. Yeah, I know, right? I know. What have they done to me? And hey, I get Elliot. Everyone's like, oh, guarantee. I'll bet guarantees. I had your back all week. I'm like, listen, I've worked with Elliot for a long time. This is not normal. He only guarantees it when he really means it. You did, you meant it, and I think people might listen next time.
Here's the thing about when I guarantee something, it's a guarantee. And we saw that right there. That was an absolute.
What a line. That should be on a t-shirt.
When I guarantee it, it's a guarantee.
That's probably the title of the episode too, Tucker. You might want to write that down.
That actually is a good one. All right. So here's what I would say. That's a performance we've been waiting all year to see. You said it right there that you're happy with that performance. You see all the Eagles fans here at MetLife that are happy. The reaction on Twitter, everybody's happy. That's what fans want to see. That's what this team is capable of. Now, there's no question about it. That Giants team is really, really bad. It's going to be a long season for them. But you know what?
But they're not disastrously bad. They've won 2 games. They're bad, but they're not worst team in football bad they have been the last few years.
But I guess what I'm saying is it doesn't matter. The 2022 team played bad teams and dominated those teams. The 2017 team played bad teams and dominated those teams.
And it's on the road.
And this is now the second week in a row where they have, I know the score last week was not great, not an overall performance, but 2 games in a row the defense hasn't allowed a touchdown. 2 games in a row, Jalen Hurts hasn't even come close to turning the ball over.
And had special plays with his legs when they needed it.
The pass from Jalen Hurts today on 4th.
Oh, the 4th to AJ. I can't believe they did it, but if you're gonna do it, make it perfect, and they made it perfect.
Well, the other thing, let's talk about that 4th down play. Because
real quick, before we do that, and we can talk about that first, but I don't want to go talk about anything else without just quickly saying the defense is the biggest reason they won this game today. The defense was freaking awesome, especially with the slow start, the sacks. We'll get into it all, but I just we always start where, with the offense, and we should, but the defense deserves the first mention as the single biggest reason they won the game today.
So look, I agree with you. The defense was unbelievable today. They dominated. I mean, they had 8 sacks today? 3
points, man. They kicked ass. And it never even really felt like the Giants got close. 7 or 8 sacks. Yeah. Awesome.
And look, this is where I want to start.
The Kobe. Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah. Because I've been living on the island all week, but if we're gonna crush Nick all week, I think this has to start with some compliments of Nick. They absolutely showed up for Nick. I was talking to somebody before the game, and I was like, "Oh, what do you think about today?" And he said, "We'll find out how hard they want to play for Nick." And they won this game 28-3. Now it was a bad start as off the jump, which it has been. Let's be honest, another quarter, first quarter without any points. But I thought that was a dominating performance today, and Nick Sirianni deserves credit for that, right? He got absolutely shredded all week, and somewhat rightfully so. We don't have to get all back into that, but he got shredded all week, and they came out today and delivered their best performance. Had that game not gone the same way, if they win that game 13-7, or if they win that game 10-3, we're talking about is Nick's job in danger, right? So to come
100%.
So to come out and to dominate like that, and I'll also say this, I thought the vibe of the team was really good today. I did too. AJ was celebrating. Jalen was celebrating.
And the D was flying around together. Flying, man.
Right. Now, I know it wasn't the team that got criticized heavily all week, and a lot of it did focus on Nick, but it was a tough week down at the NovaCare complex. Let's be real.
And they know.
And they know, yeah. So for them to come out and play that way, I thought it was very, very encouraging. And again, look, I'm Mr. Style Points. That was a style point win.
Totally.
But now 2 back-to-back games where I think they've played really well. And look,
and they haven't turned the ball over, which was our biggest complaint. And really quickly to that Nick point, Elliot, 100%. I've crushed him. A lot of people have, but this is a spot where if a team doesn't believe in a coach after the week he had, after all that, or if nothing else, doesn't like a coach and want to fight for him, they could have like not played close to as well as they did today. You know, like they could have won the game like they did last week. They came out and they kicked butt for him and they looked excited and the defense flew around for him and all that. Like, and I know it's Fangio coaching the D and all that. Like, you can't crush the guy all week and not give him credit for his team showing up in a tumultuous time.
Absolutely. And so that's why I want to talk about that fourth down play as Mike Quick walks by, the great Mike Quick.
Shout out to Mike.
That's why I want to talk about that fourth down play. So there's been a lot of criticism of Nick's fourth down. Oh, we get
down, please, just what they do.
What? It's
Mike.
That's all they do. Mike Quick says that's all they do. That's all they do.
Tell Mike I love him.
1 third down all day, but they do it on fourth down.
Tell Mike I love him, Elliot. Tell Mike I love him.
Mike James loves you. He did walk away. I don't think he heard you, unfortunately. I don't hear me, unfortunately.
Damn.
But
good.
So it's a celebratory mood here, as you can tell. Here's what I was going to say. The fourth down play, I believe it was in the second quarter, obviously, because they scored. There's been a lot of criticism of Nick's fourth down decisions this year. Some right, some wrong, but it has definitely been a big time, like Nick, the decisions he's making on fourth down. People need to remember that one, right? Because that was not, I think it was an obvious go for it, but Brian Dable in basically the same exact situation in the first quarter didn't go for it and punted that ball.
100%.
Nick went for it on fourth down,
and I agree with you. It was I would have been upset if he didn't go for it.
Correct.
There.
Yes.
And now I didn't expect them to throw it deep, but I would have been upset if they didn't go for it there. You know.
But the play itself, so the decision I thought was the correct
It
decision.
was probably Jalen. You think they did that at the line, or you think that was the call?
I don't know. Be curious to find out. But but I'll say two things. One, the throw by Jalen was unbelievable.
Best throw of the season, probably. It was probably his best throw.
Probably was,
especially considering the situation and the distance and all that. Probably his best throw of the season.
Yeah, I agree. Probably his best throw of the season. He had pressure in his face, threw it right into AJ's hands. AJ didn't even have to break stride a little bit, right? So I thought it was
it was like right into the basket. It was perfect.
And here's the other thing too, and we talked about this on the fourth down play last week against the Browns at the end of the game. Like, do you want to throw it deep there? No, I think the process behind that is probably not great. But when you have special players that you pay big time money to make special plays, like, I can't completely fault them for that. Like, A.J. Brown dusted his guy. Jalen Hurts made a great throw. Nick Sirianni called the right play. Like, if we're going to say that, you know,
or Kellen Moore or whatever, Nick made the right decision. Kellen Moore or whoever called the right play, either Jalen or Kellen, whatever.
Like, that's what you want to see from this team.
Credit.
You want to see the special people, the guys that are supposed to get you wins, go out and get you wins. And that play was absolutely massive. If they don't get that, like, it's easy to feel great about it now. But remember how we all felt in the first quarter. They come out slow. They have 13 yards from their first 7 plays. Like, that fourth down play and that throw.
Totally. Another first quarter. It was like, are you kidding me? Totally. And to that point, same idea with Saquon. That's why you get Saquon. He had 2 massive runs, especially that first one that got him going like he is, and obviously got the touchdown, the most inevitable touch. It was like Boston Scott. We were back to a running back, like lock touchdown against the Giants. It was going to happen. But like, I totally agree with you. That was, you know, AJ and Jalen making a special play together when they needed it most. A game where Devontae, you know, wasn't really involved. Obviously, no Goddard, Calcaterra wasn't involved. It was really a game where, you know, Hurts offensively. And we'll get to the defense, but offensively, it was a game where they won it because of Jalen Hurts, Saquon Barkley, and A.J. Brown. And honestly, the offensive line, you know, especially losing Becton, Fred Johnson in there, there was some pressure throughout the game on Jalen, like no doubt, nothing compared to what Daniel Jones faced. But as far as running the ball, especially Gainwell, Gainwell definitely looks more spry this year. He looks faster than he ever has, without a doubt. And I think that they had like 200. They had a bunch of rushing yards in the game as a team. 76. So 250 or so. I don't know. And obviously Jalen, especially that one where he was down, like he had it. The guy sacked him, and he just wasn't quite the magic Wentz play against Washington, but it had that kind of vibe where it was like, oh, plays dead, and then oh my god, there he goes.
It's so you bring that up, because when he was making that play, I could hear the Merrill call in my head. Like, I thought they had him. They did. Like, speaking of Mike Quick, by the way. But no, so I agree with you. And I also think, you know, you talk about like just the game itself. Coming into this, I was doing the pregame show with Joe and Hugh, and the question was, will they run the ball today? Because the Giants are worse against the run than they are the pass. Jalen only threw it 14 times today. And I know part of that's the score, especially.
Yeah, they got a big lead, but still. And a lot of the throws early on were like slants to AJ, shorter like type stuff. Like that one long throw to AJ was really like one of the few shots they took all game.
Yeah, he didn't take a ton of shots. And also, you brought up what we've been talking about, just kind of like the vibe of the team. I remember when I covered the AJ game against Tennessee in 2022. All week it's just a game. I'm not thinking about it. Then after the game, it was, that really meant a lot to me. You could tell watching that from up in the press box, and I'm sure it came across on TV too. This team wanted to win for Saquon Barkley.
Totally.
You could tell Saquon was super
amped up. You could feel
it. You could tell the players were super excited for him. And look,
especially with the crowd booing every time. It's like Giants fans too dumb to blame their organization other than Saquon, even though we all saw Hard Knocks. How could you, I understand being sad he's not there, but how could you blame that guy? He got 3 years at more money than they were offering for 1 year. It's crazy.
But what I was going to say is, so in 2022, when the season last year when the season fell apart, it was the locker room's not together. We've never seen a team have less fun. Jeffrey Lurie talked in the offseason about resiliency. I think this team has shown a lot of resiliency early on this season. They've been through quite a bit in the first 6 games, and you take into account Brazil, losing that Falcons game, right? The blowout against Tampa, the block punt against Cleveland.
Just the pall of last season, coming off that, just having to deal with that every game, this, that. Oh, is it like last year? Blah, 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 And
I think last year, when you're coming off a Super Bowl, it's a different kind of thing it does to the locker
pressure or whatever.
But I think now that they've been through it and they've been through what they've been through this year, I think that's a mentally tough team. I really do. Jalen, I think, is mentally tough. I think Nick is mentally tough. Yes, emotional, but mentally tough. And I think this team rallies around each other. And I don't know if I would have said that about the team last year, but I thought today was a rally around each other game. They rallied around Saquon. They rallied around Nick. They rallied around Daniel Jones quite a bit and brought him down. But even just you watch the way the defenders celebrated together.
I totally agree, dude.
Now, part of it is most of them went to Georgia. I think they combined for 5 sacks.
Dude, I mean, Nolan Smith, Carter had 2, Dean had 2. Yeah. Bryce Huff. Let's get to the defense, because I think that's the best way to exemplify that point. You're so right. It was the most it felt like a game where, after coming through a lot of, to your point, adversity this season. And by the way, being 3-2 through it, I said to my wife, to Emily before the game, I'm like, my wife, everyone knows Emily. I said to Emily before the game, I was like, trying to be positive because I expected them to win, but I wasn't sure I was going to go. But I was like, it's been a really rough season so far. And if they win today, they're 4-2. It's it feels like they've been through so much, to your point. And I said that to her. So it's a great point, Elliot. And they've had a really weird schedule. The Brazil thing, the like you said, I think the pressure of last year, the Nick stuff, and they've rallied. And there's a great point, because we've seen teams that might not have it, but they can rally around something or a thing like the 2017 Eagles rallying around after the Wentz injury that we got, the underdog thing. I agree with you. I think these are guys that have shown in the past they at least can be mentally tough, even if last year it didn't go that way.
Now, obviously, as we know from being in Philadelphia a long time, it's thin ice, right? If they go out to Cincinnati next week and they lose, or if it's not close, then all these things we talk about will come back. But it really feels like for the first time in a really long time, they've built some momentum. Even at the end of last year, they beat the Giants. I think it was in Philly. They beat the Giants, and it was okay. They got the win. They ended the losing streak. Here they go. And then the next week, I think it was the Cardinals.
Was Arizona, and then they got smoked by the Giants finally when they needed it, didn't need it, whatever. Totally.
So as much as this was an impressive performance in and of itself, even if this was week 1, you would walk away feeling really good. But to do it on the back of another win,
it's a great point in context.
In all seriousness, when's the last time this team won back-to-back games?
Dude, and also when's the last time they had a laugher? We talked so much recently about how that Miami game last year, the 14-point win, which week 6, week 7, whatever it was the last time they won by double digits. Today they won by 25 freaking points, man.
It didn't even feel that close.
It didn't, because they didn't score in the first quarter, and then they just took over. They were way better today. They were the better team. And to your point, man, how many times have I said over the years in this pod, and how much I believe in building confidence is so important for these guys, and in this sport more than any other. believing in the guy next to you as the Knicks stuff, which as hokey as it was, I always believe in that like, believing you're better than the guy in front of you and you could beat him, even if he's bigger, even if he's stronger. Like, that's so important in this sport. And that stuff only comes from winning and coming together as a team and growing and having those, obstacles together, especially now where it is kind of a new team where it's like, yeah, Lane's there and BG, but like with Kelsey gone, with Cox gone, it's like this younger group's team. It feels like it's Hurts and AJ and Saquon and their team now. Let's get to the defense though, because you got to go in 5 and like we gotta like. Man, we mentioned it before, like 7 sacks before. I don't know if they had one at the end there, but like, they did. I mean, Bryce Huff, how about it gets a sack and just look better out of the, I guess he's just got to have his hands on the ground, like okay, whatever. But, just Nakobe Dean, I thought easily his best game as an Eagle. He was like, that looked like Nakobe Dean in Georgia. He was flying around out there, like smacking people, blitzing, making plays with confidence. And the line was getting there. Nolan Smith looked good. Josh Sweat looked great. Jalen Carter looked great. Like, it was, everyone got in the action. That's something Emily said to me, both from the offense and defense side. She was like, what's fun about this game? She's like, I feel like everyone got to have fun. She's like, AJ scored, Saquon scored, Hurts scored, like a bunch of people had sacks. That's what and I said to her, I'm like, what? I'm going to say that on the pod because I do think that matters. Like, it's fun. Like, the whole first quarter, I kept saying to Emily, I'm like, they're just not fun to watch. Like, finally, it was fun to watch and it was fun for them to play. And that breeds good things.
Well, here's the other thing, and obviously the defensive line's a big part of this, but do you remember Malik Neighbors? Like, he was
shut him down, man. Shut him down.
Early on, I think the only catch they let up, they had Josh Sweat in coverage,
and shout out to Fangio. They clearly came in with a plan saying, all right, the only thing this Giants offense can do at a elite level, much less good level, is Malik Neighbors. Like, we're gonna take this guy out of the game as much as we can, and then Daniel Jones didn't have decisions to make, and he got, they crushed him. And Andrew Thomas, that injury probably made a difference.
That's a big one. Yeah, but no, defense was great. Cooper DeJean is a punt returner.
Dude, he looks like I tweeted, and if I tweet it, that means, I've really got to think. I was like, it looks like he has a chance to be a special punt returner if he sees there. Like, he has like real moves, real shiftiness, acceleration, like, and obviously he's been great defensively too, but just punt returner wise, like, he's got like moves, dude.
So my only counter to that would be, I agree with you. He looks special.
I don't know if I want him there. Yeah, that's why I said if he stays there. I know where you're
going. I was going to say more, but I was going to say more, like, he also needs to learn a little bit when to go down. Like, there was a few plays where, like, there's going to be turnovers there. So I do have one negative thing, if we want to end with that, and then we'll do positive, a quick positive.
Way to go. We're having the best time. No, go ahead, of course.
But, like, I am a little
It wasn't all perfect. That's the point. It wasn't all perfect.
It's not even the first quarter thing. Like, I don't really care about that, to be honest. But, like, I'm worried that Fred Johnson's going to be an issue for these weeks he's in. And then like, Fred Johnson was not good today. He was not. And, like, Mekhi Becton went out. I thought Tyler Steen played well. I'll have to rewatch it to obviously
I agree.
More in depth, but it didn't look like
it seemed that way.
But Fred Johnson's a problem. Like,
which, by the way, we forget Steen also came in that other game and played well too. He's been good in both opportunities.
Yeah, but I think the Fred Johnson thing is an issue. Like, I don't know, as Merrill Reese walks by, so we got the Mike Quick and Merrill.
Yes, God, what a thrill!
I know, but
how did this happen to us? I always say, like, how is this actually real?
I know, but that is the one thing. Like, I do wonder if they'll look around to trade for it.
I was thinking that, or if they go against it because it is a multi-week thing and put them back outside and hope that with Stoutland they can make him, if he's healthy, obviously, make him comfortable there. And because Steen's look good, so who knows? But I agree with you. I think that's probably the number one issue right now, looking at the team 100%. And whatever. Especially because we don't know how bad it is for Mailata. And as you always talk about with the big guy, and look, he's a particularly athletic big guy. So, like, he might be able to come back quicker and all that. But, like, it can be dangerous for those big guys to recover from that. All right, let's get to, like, not a final thought, but a final thought about the game and where they're at heading into Cincy next week.
Yeah, I would just say it's fun to have fun again.
It's so true. That might be a title too. You're like a title machine today.
I know. Yeah. But no, I mean, this is now look, they have to build on it, but, like, my biggest takeaway is Jalen's being smart with the ball.
Mm-hmm.
They're playing hard. They're not giving up touchdowns. Like if they started the season with these 2 games, I think we'd feel a lot differently. But overall, 6 games in, 4-2, I think that's a good outcome for where this team is.
Elliot, it's a great point. I totally agree with you.
They really survived what could have been an ugly start.
Look,
they really
they're
did.
4-2, man. They're 4-2, and like we've talked about, they have the back end is stacked with home games, and like Washington, they're clearly better than we thought. Like there might be some games that are tough. Pittsburgh, who knows? But like the Ravens are the only game left that's like that's a really, really tough team in a tough spot.
Going to Dallas, I'll never say is easy. But
sure, but Dallas is way worse this year than other years, and Dallas has lost 2 straight at home. They just lost 47-9 at home. I think that, it sets up well for this team, to your point, where if this can be a confidence builder, and they have the talent, we've talked about it, if they can stay healthy and win the war of attrition and kind of congeal and come together, like, they could still make a run. They really could.
You know what? We'll end on this. You know what? 2-0 since preseason ended.
See it? You gets it. 2-0 since preseason ended. And by the way, one more time, like, credit where due. My man put it on the line, guaranteed it Joe Namath style. And I mean, Joe Namath, no one was paying attention back then. I mean, how many more people
heard me than him?
That's what I'm saying. So,
there we go.
Awesome. All right. We'll be back later in the week, obviously, to talk about a 4-2 Birds team, by the way, 4-2 and a big win, and hopefully propels them into Cincy to react to more. And who knows, after the last pod, we found out about the Sirianni antics, so hopefully they're knowing
anything. Yeah,
feel okay. Yes. Yeah. All right. So we will be back later in the week. It's fun to have fun again, man. Thank you, Birds. Thank you for giving us a Sunday we can feel good about and enjoy, and I can be happy the rest of the day. All right. We'll be back later in the week. 4-2, baby. Until then, he's Item James.